Welcome to our channel. Here we read Bible stories written for children and adults alike. Our verse today is Psalm 103:2. Forget not all his benefits. We need to remember the goodness of God to us. The Greek translation of benefits is his kind deeds. The children of Israel had a tendency to forget that. In Egypt, God sent 10 plagues to protect his people. When difficulties like the Red Sea came, they forgot what their great and powerful God had done for them. Our story today is entitled, God Protects and Feeds His People, taken from Exodus 14-16. Although the people of Israel had been allowed to move out of Goshen, that did not mean that Pharaoh would leave them to go in peace. They did not go eastward because the warlike Philistines lived there. Instead, they turned toward the southeast in the direction of Mount Horeb, where Moses had seen the burning bush that did not burn away. Ahead of them was the Red Sea, and suddenly they realized that behind them were the chariots of Egypt. Pharaoh had suddenly realized that his slaves were leaving. Who would do the brick-making now? So he called together 600 crack charioteers to lead the whole army of Egypt after the Israelites, to capture them and bring them back. When the Egyptians came in sight, the Israelites were encamped by the seashore near Baal-zephon. When they saw the great army coming up in the distance, they were terrified. They forgot all the wonders God had done in Egypt. They forgot how he had taken care of them on the Passover night. Instead, they turned on God's servant, Moses, and said angrily that it would have been better for them to have stayed the slaves of the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness. But quietly, Moses told them not to be afraid, but simply to watch the mighty way the Lord would save them. Those Egyptians they would see no more, but they need not fight against them. God would do all the fighting that was necessary. Then God commanded Moses to lift up a stick over the sea. The water would divide, and the Israelites would be able to pass through dry shod. The pillar of cloud moved away from its usual position now, and stood behind the Israelites, but in front of the Egyptians. And that night the pillar of cloud looked different on the two sides. On the Israelite side, it was light, but on the Egyptian side, very dark, to hide the Israelites from them. Moses did as God had told them. He stretched out his stick over the sea, and God caused a strong east wind to blow right through the night and divide the sea. In the early morning, the Israelites took up all their goods and marched through between the two parts of the sea, which were like walls of water on the two sides. As they went through, God dealt with the Egyptians out of the pillar of fire and cloud. He made the wheels come off some of the chariots so that they struggled in the deep desert sand. Then, as they came into the gap between the two parts of the sea, God told Moses once more to stretch out his stick over the sea. This time, the water came rushing back, covering the chariots and drowning every horse and every soldier. All the Israelites saw after that of the great Egyptian army was the bodies of the soldiers lying along the seashore. Then Moses sang a great hymn of praise, which you can read in Exodus 15. It begins like this. I will sing unto the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. The Lord is my strength and song, and he is become my salvation. He is my God, and I will exalt him. Let's go over our verse again. Psalm 103:2. Forget not all his benefits. We often look into the future and see the problems we will be facing. Maybe remember God's word that he gave to Moses. Exodus 13:14. And Moses said unto the people, Fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. God has given us many promises in the Bible by which we can face our problems. Samuel addressed the people of Israel, saying, 1 Samuel 12:24, Only fear the Lord, and serve him in truth with all your heart, for consider how great things he hath done for you. When we remember all the good things God has done for us in the past, it helps us face the problems of the future. Let's say our verse one final time. Psalm 103:2. Forget not all his benefits. Thank you for joining us on our Bible reading journey. I hope you can join us next time as we continue our story entitled The Journey Begins Through the Wilderness.